How does one restore Hidden Power Zone to Sonic 2? For that, you'll need a disassembly of one of the prototypes that still has Hidden Power Zone. In my case, I'm going with the August 21st prototype because it's the latest one to still have Hidden Power Zone in it, so it's the most finished. But before we can actually get to porting Hidden Power Zone, we need to be able to access it. So we'll go by hijacking the level select, just making one of the zones take us to Hidden Power Zone. This is simple enough. Right here, level select order, change it to Hidden Power Zone, and now Emerald Hill Act 1 will take us to Hidden Palace Act 1. Let's build and test. By the way, I'm using Knuckles in Sonic 2, but the instructions are pretty much the same for regular Sonic 2. Alright, just like that, Hidden Power Zone, and as you can see, it's a complete mess. But that's good. So now we can test our porting. Sorry, Knuckles. So, why does Hidden Power Zone look like that? It's because the developers just removed its files from the game. And the game doesn't like that. Which files? Well, if you just start at the top and look for, I suppose, Hidden Power Zone, sure. We can see Hidden Power Zone stuff. Here's its camera initialization, which interestingly was removed after the first version of Sonic 1. Well then, first version of Sonic 2, let's put that back while we're here, because there's no way I'm going to remember to do that. The background scrolling code is intact, there are no level events. Some objects, title card, animation data, debug mode data, we're going to have to restore that later. Here we go, missing collision data. Block, tile, and chunk data. Is there anything else? Music, that's already there. And we're back to the beginning. Okay. So it's all well and good that we uncommented those lines of code, but that ain't going to help as much because, as you can see, the files that are mentioned just aren't in the Sonic 2 disassembly because they're not in Sonic 2 anymore. So we need to put those files back. We're going to grab them from a prototype disassembly. So this one right here, which, just to remind you, a repellent mold. Yeah, this is where you can find it. Has a level folder, Hidden Power Zone, and here's all the data. So here's that collision data we needed. Here are the blocks, chunks, and tiles. Along with the level layout data, we may need those too. Let's just check right now. Hidden Power Zone 1, PLR data, that needs to go back. Ah, here we go. We're also missing the level layout data. Yeah, okay. Wait, what? Yeah, okay. Whatever. So we need to restore these missing files. There is one catch, however. Chunks.cols, that means it's KENSC compressed. That's fine. Tiles.nem. The tiles are using the wrong compression format, it seems, so we're going to have to do a bit of recompression. But let's take this one step at a time. One file at a time, might I add. So we restored the blocks. No, sorry, the collision first. Well, I don't think collision's all that important, so, or that obvious. So we'll begin with, yeah, fine. We'll go with the graphics, because right now the graphics are, you know, disgusting. Let's get it to look a bit like Hidden Power Zone to begin with. So tiles.nem. I'm lucky. I have a little thing called FW-KENSC that makes this compression and recompression stuff trivial. Just decompress it, then recompress it. Sonic 2, the finished Sonic 2, expects its level tiles to be Kaczynski compressed. For those who are interested in the Windows shell extension I'm using, it's right here, main memory, FW-KENSC. You can grab an exe right here. Otherwise, you're going to have to look for a KENSC compressor. There are a few of them out there. Okay, here's one on Sega Retro. The original KENSC library. You also have KENSharp. Flamewing has MD-Comp. There are a bunch of compressors out there. Anyway, now that we've recompressed the tiles using whatever compressor we use, let's just take this and put it in the Sonic 2 disassembly. Kaczynski, let's rename it. HiddenPowerZone.bin. So now if we build, we shouldn't have an error because there are no missing files. We did go back and undo. Yeah, see, we're only doing this one. So now let's see what Hidden Power Zone looks like now that we've restored just one file, the tiles in particular. It crashed. Okay then. Okay, well this is bizarre. It crashed, sure, but it did actually load. You can see it in this VRAM viewer. It did load the graphics and then just crashed. Okay, I think I've sussed it out. You see, by putting the graphics back but not putting the blocks back, you see this label bypasses the file. It's trying to load graphics as block data, and I'm sure that's what's crashing the game. So let's get these other files done. I've done some poking around and determined that the blocks in the prototype are just uncompressed, hence why they're .dat in this disassembly. Now in Sonic 2 Final, they have to be Kaczynski compressed. So let's Kaczynski compress the blocks too. And there we go. Now the chunks are already Kaczynski compressed, so we don't have to recompress that unless you just want to make the file a little bit smaller. FW-KENSC has a better compression ratio than Sega's original compressor after all. So those go in level, no, mappings, 16 by 16. I'm going to give it the proper name, much to Windows's chagrin, or however the hell that word goes. Alright, same for the chunks, PowerZone.bin. There, no more crashing, I hope. I'm sure it'll be fine, I've done this before. Yeah, restoring Hidden Power Zone, that's something I was fanatic about back when I was a newbie Sonic hacker. Alright, let's work this time. Okie dokie. There we go, see? This is actually looking a bit like Hidden Power Zone now. Got the chunks, got the blocks, got the tiles, all from just replacing a few files after recompressing them. So why does everything still look broken? The level layout is missing. Sonic maps, they're basically big jigsaws. You have little 8x8 tiles, 16 by 16 blocks, 128 by 128 chunks, and in those chunks, these big square things, are arranged into the actual level by the layout. So let's grab that missing layout data, or should I say let's find the missing include section. Right, here we go. Hidden Power Zone Act 1 level layout. This is going to be tricky, unfortunately, because as you can see, it's just one file, right? So why is it in the prototype? It's 2. Yeah, we're going to have a bit of an awkward time here. Now, how are we going to work around this? Because you see, I believe being separate files is a Sonic 1 thing. This is part of the engine that was changed in Sonic 2's final version, but not this prototype. It seems the prototype is still doing things a bit like Sonic 1 did. Okay, well, unfortunately, it seems like converting the level layout data is going to be a real pain in the ass. So rather than convert the level layout data to Sonic 2's format, we'll just port the code for loading the level layout data and only use it for Hidden Power Zone. I really can't think of an alternative that isn't a huge pain in the butt. This is the path of least resistance. So here's the code right here, load level layout. We're going to want to yank this and bring it with us. We're going to be doing a bit of reworking, but I swear this is easier than the alternative. Alright, here's Sonic 2's normal level layout loader. We're just going to plonk this new one right underneath it. We are going to get errors if we try and build this because of these variable names that aren't quite there anymore. The disassemblers have different naming schemes, everything has a different name, so what the prototype disassembly calls level map buffer is actually just level layout and so on. This is just level layout plus 80, so we can do that. Level ID, that is called current zone and act. Level layout, that actually, nope, never mind. Off level. Alright, I think that's the undefined symbol errors dealt with, though the question is, has this table right here, off level, has it changed? It begins with an offset table, that's normal. But what does it look like in the prototype? Has the format changed? Yes, you bet it has. You see, originally it was a pointer to the foreground, a pointer to the background, or an offset to the foreground, an offset to the background. In Sonic 2 Final, the files have been combined, so it's just one offset. So, going back to the code, clearly we need to change it just a wee bit. So what this code does is rotate right 1, left shift 6. This one does rotate right 1, rotate right 1, flipping tongue twister, logical shift right 5. There we go, change it to 6 to match. And so this code should work, hopefully, but we need to actually use it now. So we're going to do a wee little trick. Hang on a tick, what am I doing? Sorry, I'm being really stupid with how I'm porting this code. You see, we're hard coding this specifically for Hidden Power Zone. So we don't need to be doing this baloney, that's for sure. Okay. So what this does is it grabs the current level, does some math on it, turns it into an offset into the level layout table, and finally gets a pointer to the foreground or the background in A0. So we aren't going to really be doing any of this, except maybe sterilizing D0. No, D0 doesn't need resetting to 0. Okay, we don't quite need this or this. Yeah, sorry if you can't follow along, this requires code comprehension. And I'm afraid there's no easy way to put this. We just have to rewrite a chunk of it. I'm sorry. But yeah. Now, since we know what data we're using, we don't have to do any of this fancy math, determining pointers from level IDs. And no, we can cheat. We're only using this code for Hidden Power Zone, Act 1 no less. I guess it would be nice to support Act 2. Whatever. Okay. So I'm going to find Hidden Power Zone. Yeah, there's just the one. Alright, let's hardcode it. LEA. Sorry, what the hell am I doing? Good grief. I wish I'd written a script. Alright, look, we need two. Okay, we need to modify this because this isn't in Sonic 2's usual format. So we have foreground and we have background. FG, BG. These are uncompressed, not Kaczynski compressed. While we're here, let's just copy them. So FG map, BG map. I'm going to level layout. Hidden Power Zone 1 BG. Hidden Power Zone 1 FG dot bin for consistency. Okay. There we go, now we have some nice valid file paths and labels to go with those file paths. So, the first pass is going to be for the foreground. And the second pass will be for the background. This works well enough, it's hard-coded to one act of one zone. Now we just need to call this when the current act and zone is Hidden Palace Zone. This is fair enough, this is simple enough. Just a simple comparison will do. Hidden Palace Zone Act 1, I hope that's correct. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see if it works. No, of course not, because I'm an idiot who forgot how to program. Good grief. Okay. Let's try that again. Oh, come on. Sorry, what am I doing? I really am. I'm so rusty. It's weird. Oh, give me a break. Don't be like me. Don't be a terrible programmer. Did I say terrible programmer? I mean the best programmer. No errors, please. No more. Finally, I can get back to making progress. Alright, moment of truth. Did it work? Did it work? Did it work? Oh, yeah! Awesome! The collision's screwed, but that's normal. But yeah, I did it! so, so we didn't even have to convert the level layout. Just port its code and it'll work willy-nilly. Oh, making progress. This is definitely looking a lot more like Hidden Palace. It doesn't feel like Hidden Palace, because, you know, Knuckles is going through the tube. But yeah, alright, let's get the collision sorted out. That shouldn't be so bad, right? I really, really hope I don't end up eating my words. Hidden Palace Zone, colon. Yeah, that's just the level, graphics, palette, code, and objects. Here we go, the collision data. The primary collision data and the secondary collision data. As you can see, they are Kaczynski compressed. But are they Kaczynski compressed in the prototype? No, they appear to be uncompressed. Oh well, that shouldn't be so bad. And there we go. Now let's just copy them along, or cut them along, put them in the files, and give it a test. Collision. That seemed to go smoothly. Okay, alright. That went better than I expected. And now the collision data is working. Yeah. Now, of course, there are still a few things missing, and don't worry, we will get to them. For one, the graphics are still a bit screwed, and two, the objects are missing. There's supposed to be bad mixing here. Like Reds, the little T-Rex. Don't mind this monitor. Ah, yeah, also the object art. That's also incorrect. Alright, so we clearly have a lot of missing level artwork. What can be done about that? The missing object artwork comes down to this. The PLRs, also known as the PLCs, or pattern load queues. How many names does this thing need? they're responsible for loading the graphics of various assets in the levels besides the level itself. So Emerald Hill Zone has Buzzer in it, and Emerald Hill Zone's PLC loads Buzzer's graphics. As you can see, it's all gutted in Sonic 2. So let's restore what little has been preserved here. But of course, there's more than just the water surface. So let's find out what's supposed to be here. The prototype disassembly seems to include its PLCs in a separate file, so we'll have to look in there. Okay, and here it is. It looks a bit different because the formatting is different between the disassemblies. Never mind this. This is how the level graphics were loaded back when they were Nemesis compressed. They were part of the PLCs. So we're not going to be porting this because we don't care. We do want these various files. Now each level actually has 2 PLCs, so we want this as well. Notably, there's this big blob of unused PLC data right after Hidden Power Zone. You could argue it's intended for Hidden Power Zone, with the fancy Piranha and the Crocobot. But at the same time, you have things like Green Hill Zone's Masher, Casino Night Zone's Crawl. I'm not sure how much of this data is actually intended for Hidden Power Zone. Anyway, so one at a time, we're going to have to restore these files. Except for Water Surface, I'm pretty sure it's already in the game. Yep, sure is. So as a quick test, let's just restore the water surface object and see if it actually does make a difference. So let me just come on down to the water surface so you can see that it hasn't yet been loaded. There you go, see it's all freaking out and whatever. So now that we've uncommented the code to load it, there we go. See, we're getting there. So back to this. We need the bridge, the waterfall, the platform, the orbs, the unknown platform, the emerald, Rhinobot, Dinobot, Batbot, Bubbles. Are the bubbles ever used? Whatever. And the Batbot, Dinobot, Rhinobot, those aren't really going to matter much yet because we need to port their code. There were a few objects in Hidden Power Zone, like that one collapsing platform. We've got rings and a monitor. But as you can see, the graphics are just missing. However, there are no badniks because their code is gone. We're going to have to port the badniks code eventually. For now, let's get to just porting these things. So where can I find them, huh? Ah, goody. They're all bunched up next to each other right before the Oil Ocean Zone data. That's nice. Let's just begin by copying a big old chunk of them. Giant spike ball. Okay. Just trying to keep things neat. So here in the final game, you can see a bunch of Oil Ocean Zone data preceded by in Fortress Zone. Okay, whatever. Make some room. Copy these in. Let's use Binclude. Yeah, the two disassemblers also use a completely different assembler, so the code sometimes has to be just a little bit different. The assembler fragmentation isn't all that great for Sonic hacking, just makes it even harder to port things. Alright. Let's add some extra evens, just to make sure we don't have any awkwardness. Can never be too safe with with evens. Now we just got to copy the files over. I could rename them, but what's the point? Chose an odd time to be overwhelmed with apathy. Okay, well, if you're hacking on Linux, you may have to change this to match this, you know, case sensitivity and all that. Anyway, so HQZ, Emerald Platform, Orbs. I wish this naming was consistent. Okay, Emerald Platform. Orbs. And Unkputfum. Okay. Yeah, we could change the file extensions, but whatever. So, good, no undefined errors, which means we are ready to just shove these into the PLC. Once I find them anywhere. Alright, here we are. So now we just need to put this in this. Though I suppose it would be nice to match the style. Nah. Let's just copy and paste for now. Get it working first, make it look pretty later. Like I say, this is more of just a stylistic difference than anything. So you can just do this and it'll work. I suppose we can restore the bubbles. Like these are the same bubbles that other levels use, right? Yeah, Chemical Plant does. Okay. Is it called NEM bubbles in Sonic 2? It definitely is. Okay. Bridge, waterfall, platform, orbs, unknown platform. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just making sure I'm not missing anything. No compiler assembler errors. That's good. Alright, look at that. One of the orbs is correct. The other one isn't. We'll get to that. I'm just going to assume that's a problem with the disassembly and not with our hidden power zone port job. Right, what else is correct? The waterfalls, I hope. Yeah. Now the waterfalls are looking right. Are the platforms looking good? Yes, they are. How about the bridge? How about the emerald? Bridge is correct, and yeah, don't mind these little glitchy looking things right here. That really is what they look like. Yeah, looking pretty complete now. Well, as complete as Hidden Power Zone ever really looked, sans the badniks. Now where's that emerald? There it is. Alright. That just leaves... Ooh, it crashed. Why, oh why did it crash? Okay, well anyway, here's the reason that the other orbs are broken. You see, there's another missing file, right here, pulsing orb. I imagine it's what the other disassembly is calling orbs 1. No? Oh goodness. Oh no, never mind, I'm done. Dumb. It's just called orbs. And here it is, uncompressed orbs.dat. Let's just grab that from the disassembly. And let's give it the name the Sonic 2 disassembly gave it. I said let's give it the name the disassembly gave it. And yeah, build and run, go to level select, blah blah blah. Nope, I'm an idiot, I forgot to uncomment this. Alright, now build and level select, blah blah blah. Moment of truth. Come on, come on, come on. And yeah. Alright. Now all the orbs look correct. So now we just have that mystery crash, the missing badniks. Anything else? Well, I hope not. I can't think of anything. But yeah, let's take a minute to admire our work, huh? We went from, what Hidden Battle Zone normally looks like in Sonic 2 to something that matches the prototype. Close enough anyway, sans the badniks. Can actually explore a bit easier with Knuckles. Neat. And there's that confounded crash again. How odd. Okay, well before we move on to porting the badniks from the prototype, let's do one other thing. If you're porting Hidden Palace Zone, maybe you want to actually make a Hidden Palace Zone level. So let's add Hidden Palace Zone to SonLVL. It's pretty much the main Sonic level editor. You probably already know this, but as you can see, there's no Hidden Palace Zone option. How do we add one? It's simple enough. You just edit an ini file. Specifically, this one, question mark. Okay. Guess it begs the question of where do I even put Hidden Palace Zone? After Death Egg Zone? Whatever. Let's just copy this little section here, give it a name. And then you just tell it the files to use. Oh dear, we're going to have a bit of a problem with the level layouts being funky, aren't we? Okay, well, there is this right here in the Sonic 1 SonLVL files, the foreground and background layout, so I'm just going to do that and hope it works. So FG layout. And BG. Never mind that. BG layout. Objects, yeah, those are already in the game. Rings, already in the game. Palettes, that's already in the game. There are a lot of files we didn't actually have to copy over because they're just in Sonic 1 already, Sonic 2 already. They were never removed. So the developers could have saved a little room in Sonic 2 by deleting more files. Let's just disregard these. We'll leave the Death Egg Zone objects for now. Time to cross our fingers and hope this worked. Nope. Okay. Ah man, I actually had some success by specifying that the layout format is Sonic 1, but it's not quite Sonic 1's format. As you can see, it's marking certain chunks as loop-de-loops, and that's breaking them because the format in Sonic 2's prototypes doesn't have loop-de-loops. Dang nabbit. Okay, well, on account of none of the objects having SonLVL definitions, apparently, maybe there's not a huge point in getting. Ah, jeez. Maybe this is an exercise for SonLVL and not an exercise for the ROM-hacker, huh? Either way, we can kind of see the level, so we can kind of see what the objects we need to port. Right here we have a waterfall object. I mean, SonLVL sure as hell ain't telling us, but here we have a flashing orb, and somewhere around here we're going to find objects for badniks. I believe this is one. 4C. That's a Batbot. This is a Reds. 4F. So you can see a pattern for 4F, 4C, 4D and E, I guess badniks too. Or they're just in Palace Zone objects, whatever. So yeah, let's start by porting object 4F, the little dinosaur badnik. This Sonic 2 prototype disassembly is a bit unconventional in that it actually does bother to split the code up. So we want obj_x4f. And there you go, what this disassembly calls Dinobot. Now unfortunately, porting code is such a pain in the ass in the Sonic disassemblies because every single blooming disassembly changes everything's name. Like obj routine 2. I think we just call that routine or routine secondary in the Sonic 2 disassembly. So not only are we going to have to copy and paste this code and integrate it into the engine proper, we also have to just rename everything. It sucks. Well, to begin with, let's just copy and paste it, shove it in, but there's no way it's going to work. We're going to have 1,000 errors. I'm not looking forward to this one bit. I'm just going to stick it above object 50. For the fun of it, let's have a look at the gigantic list of errors we're about to get. That's a lot of errors. Okay. So how do we even begin resolving this? You can't just copy and paste code. It just doesn't work. How do we fix this? Slow, manual, tedium. So as you can see, obj routine equals 24. We could just replace it with the number and it would work, but that's not very good form at all. As you can see, like the numbers are right here, sure, but really, let's not do that. If you edit the code enough, eventually, obj routine won't be 24, it'll be something else. So you don't want it to. You don't want to have just 24 in your code. So 24. Yep, that's what we call routine. You know, I suppose there is a way around. This is like the tidy thing to do. Go through your code and replace everything. So 0, 2, which is art tile, which is spelt this way in the Sonic 2 disassembly. You can do that. Or if you want to be a clever clogs, you can just create a compatibility shim. You know? You can just come here, take these things and shim them to their Sonic 2 equivalent, Sonic 2 final disassembly equivalents. Copy this, put it there, and then just replace the numbers with the real thing from here. So ID, render flags, art tile, etc. I'll get back to you when I'm done. This is gonna take a while. Try not to get caught out by this one. It's X sub, and yet the disassembly for the prototype calls it sub Y. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Just try not to trip on that. Okay, an utterly unmitigated amount of tomfoolery later, and here we have the big old list. I don't think AS supports the EQU directive thingamajig, so let's just replace those with equals. Alright, now hopefully this won't fix everything, because yes, while that will fix these SSTs here, that doesn't account for mappings, which just don't exist, and it doesn't account for functions which have different names. So as you can see, we have obj hit floor, whatever the heck that's supposed to be. A jump to animate sprite. We have display sprite, delete object. We're going to have to correct these. Oh man, there's also, oh goodness, some hard-coded memory addresses we're going to have to resolve. That sucks. Ooh, let's just take things one step at a time. Let's get a list of things we need to do. Okay. Well, I know what object fall is. It has a similar name. But yeah, this is a jump to. Jump to is pretty superfluous. We can just get rid of them, call the thing directly. That ought to fix that one error. Then what others? Obj hit floor. Alright, I have no clue what obj hit floor is, so let's find out. One way to tell is to look for code that uses obj hit floor in the prototype, and then find that same code in the final game and find out what its name is in the final game. However, unfortunately, it seems that only objects use it. This is going to be annoying. Okay, plan B. Another way to figure out what the name is in the final game. Look at the code and recognize it. And this has a pretty distinct pattern. obj hit floor, reads from a RAM address, does 10, 0, C, and it calls fan floor. So let's go through Sonic 2 and find code that uses fan floor and does the same thing. And I found it. Yeah, this is an exact match. Even has the fire thing underneath it. Fire fan floor, obj hit floor, obj check floor dist, obj hit floor. Oh, I'm an idiot. It was called that in the original too. Alright, whatever. Now we have animate sprite. Well, that's simple enough. That hasn't changed one bit. So again, get rid of the whole jump to thing and just call it yourself directly. Yeah, these annoying jump tos. I'm pretty confident that this isn't how the original code was written. Yeah, it's not like Sonic Team were trying to torture us by writing the code this way. I'm pretty sure it's an automated thing done by the assembler they used. Of course, our assemblers don't do it, but theirs did, and that is why we should never forgive them. So now we have speed to pause. I believe that's the Sonic 1 name for it, the Sonic 1 disassembly name for it. What Sonic 2 calls it, or the Sonic 2 disassembly calls it, is just object move. Yeah, object move. Okay. You know, I don't believe the whole parentheses .l thing is actually necessary. It's just I'm being explicit about the effective address mode I'm using. Anyhow, is that all? Let's get a new list of errors and find out. Okay. Weird seeing AS complain about that. Symbol undefined, obj hit floor, symbol undefined. Alright, this is more manageable, I think. But yeah, symbol undefined, what the heck are you talking about? It's right there. Am I just not paying attention? What's going on here? Object fall, obj hit floor. Oh, object fall. Yeah, what is object fall? That sounds like object move and fall. And where is object fall anywhere? Man, am I going delirious here? 877. Yeah, object move and fall. Oh, this inconsistency is so horrible. So what's the other one? obj hit floor. Oh god. I love that this is normally much harder, and yet here I am, just casually control effing them. Pardon me, pardon my French. And it turns out they're already documented. So what on earth is obj control var 04? Well, it's 30. Let's consult this. What is 30? Invulnerable time. Yeah, I doubt that. It may just be a unique custom thing. I believe in here we call it obj off. No? Oh, here we go. obj off. These are just for nameless ones. Like you could just use the number 30, but the convention is to just use obj off underscore, then the number. So this is some kind of unique variable specific to this particular object. So it doesn't really have a name. Now there is still more work to do to get Dinobot working. but it's now assembling. So that's something. Now, we do have issues with these addresses. We do not want to have hard-coded RAM addresses in case you end up moving the contents of memory around, because then they're not going to match what they're supposed to. It ain't going to work. So what is FC00? Yeah, I don't think control Fing is going to help me that much. Let us consult the listing file. Surely it hasn't actually changed between the prototype and the final game. Please. No. Here we go. OBJ respawn index. I should have really thought of that because, yeah, this does look like the OBJ respawn index code. Any other hard-coded memory addresses? No, just this one. 7DA. I believe that's camera expos, maybe camera expos course. Let's consult the listing file again. I was right on the money. 7DA camera expos course. Okay. So now the code is assembling. It's using the proper variable constant things. What do we have down here? We have the animation data. We also have the mappings. Okay. Mappings are normally in their own file, but in this disassembly they're just in code form. Okay. Hopefully the format, I'm pretty sure the format hasn't changed. We don't need to convert it from prototype to final. That'll work. But if we played the game, if we went to Hidden Power Zone, the Dinobot would still not actually spawn, because we haven't rigged this code up to anything. Let's give it a proper name, OBJ4F. Depending on whether you're a fan of the Sonic 2 disassembly or not, that is either very sarcastic or very genuine. No, I will not elaborate on what I mean. So if I just casually look for OBJ50, I'm going to find the object table. There it is. So here you can see 4 empty object slots. And we know 4C and 4F are Hidden Palace Zone badniks, meaning 4E and 4D are probably also from Hidden Palace. So there you go. We've now reinstated object 4F. Let's get back to Hidden Palace Zone and see if we've done anything. Alright, it is really hard to see because we haven't ported its graphics yet, but that is Dinobot right there. Yeah, let's get those graphics ported. This is practically unplayable. Okay, you probably know where we're going from here. We have to just get the graphics, copy them over, and then add the PLC data. So we want art Dinobot. What file is that? Art Nemesis Dinobot. Yep, I really should have thought of that. Where is this kept anywhere? It seems like it's kept with other badniks. Funny. Never really noticed that the game just keeps all the badniks in a big blob together. Octus. Oh man. Come on, where is it? Oh, there it is. There we go. Okay. So Dinobot goes underneath Octus. That's good to know. Now we add the PLC data. I suppose it is a bit hypocritical of me to say, oh, yeah, you can't just use magic numbers in the object code, and then I use magic numbers in the PLC code data. But yeah, as you can see, this right here, this is the art data, this is the VRAM address. You can find these in the constants file. There aren't any for Hidden Power Zone, or at least not for everything in Hidden Power Zone, which is why I'm just hard coding it, because if we wanted to do things properly, we'd just be creating our own of these for Hidden Power Zone and then only really using them here. And, well, I guess also in the Dinobot code to avoid a magic number, but whatever. We'll refine it if I feel like it. Does this build without error? I sure hope it does. Yep. Ooh, I can't wait. We get to see Dinobot. Ooh boy. Bring on the Dinobot. Yeah, boy! Why does it look like that? Why is it jittering about? Okay, something's wrong. I'm not sure what's wrong, but something's wrong. Man, I just can't win. Yeah, we got Dinobot working. Coolio ravioli. Okay, I figured it out. I'm being silly. If you're following at home with regular Sonic 2, the Dinobot Reds, whatever you want to call it, it won't be glitched. This is just a Knuckles and Sonic 2 thing. You see, Knuckles and Sonic 2 doesn't use Sonic 2's mappings format. It uses Sonic 3's. So if you're hacking Knuckles and Sonic 2, you're going to have to do this. So we're going to begin by just correctly formatting this data. This is closer to what it's supposed to look like. Okay, now this is Sonic 2's format. Sonic 3 and Knuckles just removes this bit. So by doing this, this should fix Dinobot. We did it! We fixed Dinobot! We saved him! And it's dead. Okay, well, if you're nitpicky, you'll know there are a few small issues. Number one, when you enter the zone, the title card gets overwritten by bubbles. Additionally, when you pop reds here, the cloud has a bit of green in it. Yeah. So, the green. How do you address the green? It's some kind of Sonic 1 leftover. If I remember right, Sonic 1 zones and Sonic 2's prototype zones have this odd shade of green here. That's what you're seeing in the cloud, this green right here. Normally it's a grey. So if I go to Emerald Hill, sigh. There, finally. Yeah, you see, in Emerald Hill, it's a grey. 666, haha. Now, I am honestly not sure what this green is ever used for in Sonic 1, but I'm pretty sure it's not used here in Hidden Power Zone. So, yeah, just change it to 6, 6, and then 6, and the cloud should be gone. I fear saving, though, because SonLVL's going to resave everything. It's going to butcher the level layout, so let's edit the palette a different way. Shameless plug. So here's ClownMaphead, my SonMaphead clone. You can load up the palette, and yeah, so we're just going to change this to, what was it again? Right, 96. So we just come here, change all of these to 96. Apologies for the tiny font, QT's fault, not mine. We also need to do this for the underwater palette, which is a bit awkward because you have to like reverse engineer the filter that's applied to the colors. My understanding is it goes down by 1 for these two. What the heck's 96 minus 32? 64. 64, 64, then add 32, so 128. Right, so that's the corrected colour, I think? Question mark? And yeah, just save these, overwrite the original palettes, secondary for this one. Yes. And full for the Hidden Power Zone underwater palette. And then that fixes the colours. Now what do we do about those bubbles? Okay, looking around at the prototype, you can see a lot of levels include art bubbles. Oh, Chemical Plant, Aquatic Ruin? No, yeah, Aquatic Ruin and Hidden Palace. If you look at regular Sonic 2, finished Sonic 2, The only PLCs to use Artin and Bubbles is STD Water and Hidden Power Zone. So clearly we don't actually need this here anymore. I assume it'll be loaded just by virtue of being a water level. Alright, no bubble shenanigans. Let's pop a badnik and see if the explosion graphic looks good. Yeah. Yeah, that looks good. Good. Alright. Unfortunately, that crash is still there. Okay, so looking at the prototype disassembly, 4F is Dinobot, 4D is Rhinobot, 4E is Crocobot. Okay, well, I don't think either of these are actually placed in Hidden Palace Zone, so let's just move on to 4C, which is Batbot. It's more of the same. Copy and paste it, correct things. I'm going to have to convert all of these wacky mappings. Oh boy, I'm looking forward to that, he says with no sincerity whatsoever. Just pasted it here. I figure I should show at least some of the conversion process, because some of you watching will be new to this whole programming thing. Oh boy. Yeah, okay, player 1, position X. This is pretty simple. Yeah, so we have this thing. Main character? Yeah, main character. And rather than, yeah, it's just main character plus expos. There you go. Have some more control vars. A lot of them, really. Geez, Batbot is one complicated robot. Badnik. Let's just port these, copy these. I mean, they serve the same purpose as obj off. But yeah, really, in the name of click tidiness and all that, this should all be moved into S2 constants. Let's do that. Because hey, this isn't just a tutorial on porting Hidden Power Zone, this is a tutorial on how to keep your code nice and tidy, I say, as I unceremoniously dump a massive block of undocumented code into the constants file. Hopefully that does its job. Yeah, okay. Standard errors. Just undefined jump 2s and pseudo random number. I believe Sonic 2's disassembly just calls it random number. So let's evaluate. Let's resolve those. Just nuking these ugly little beginning parts. Changing BRA to GMP to avoid out of range errors. I'm just not going to bother making the address mode explicit. Save a little time and prove that it can be done. Oh man, not speed to pause again. Speed to pause. Which one was that? Object move. Okay. Please tell me there are more of these things. Good, just pseudo random number. I do not know how to spell pseudo. Okay. And is that all? Awesome. Okay, let's get those mappings converted and we should be good to go. Aside from the missing graphical data. So again, we're working with binary mapping data that's been transliterated into assembly data. So we really have to do some tidying here. Oh boy, why is there so much? How much of this stuff is there? Oh, good grief. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, now they're all .w. Now I need to tediously separate these things. But you know what? I'm going to do a little regular expression. All right, here we go. regular expression is amazing. Check this out. 3, 2, 1, boop, and just like that, magically converted, all willy-nilly. And yeah, if you can read that, there's the regular expression you want. So to make this work in Knuckles and Sonic 2, we've got to remove all of these. Time for some more regular expression. Okay, here we go. New regular expression that gets rid of the data that's not in Sonic 3's mappings format. And done. Okay. Next up is attaching this thing to the object list. Got to come to the top, give it a proper name, and add it to the object list. Alright, now, let's get Batbot's graphics in. I don't want to look at another barely visible object for 10 seconds. Okay, Batbot goes above Octus. Done. Alright, moment of truth. Does Batbot work? Well, that's Batbot alright, but I forgot to add it to the flipping PLCs. Ah man, so forgetful. There. Take 2. And that right there is Batbot. Which, by the way, has broken mappings. The flame coming out of its ass is supposed to be orange, not yellow. I suppose we can fix that. Yeah, there you go, Batbot, working as intended. Beating the crap out of Knuckles, just as God intended. Yep. Okay, well, let's sort out those mappings, shall we? So, you might be thinking, what's wrong with the mappings? The thing's using the wrong palette line. You can read about it on TCRF. How do we fix it? Simple enough. You see, the mappings format is not just some black box. There is documentation. It's a pretty human-readable format, too. Actually, what am I talking about? You don't have to edit the mappings. The issue is the art tile. But what is an art tile, you may be wondering? Well, it's this. It's a bit field in this format. So the hexadecimal number 80 just means 1 and then a bunch of zeros. So 8000 would be priority set, everything else clear. This doesn't have priority, but it does have 2000. 2000 being the palette line 2, which is this bit right here. So it's using palette line 2 base 1, palette line 1 base 0. Maybe it's meant to be using palette line 3. So instead of 2, make it 4. In binary fun. Let's get back to Hidden Palace and see what the Badnik now looks like. Oh dear, that is not correct. Okay, let's try palette line 4. Ah, damn it. There, jeez. Oh, come on, that's not right either. What? Oh, right, I get it. It's not... This is palette line 1, this is 2, this is 3. It's meant to be on palette line 0. Right, okay. So, come here. Just 0. There, done. Dead time's a charm? Oh, for... Oh. Oh! Stop killing the Batbots, Knuckles! Oh, jeez. Like, does that look okay? Looks okay to me. Oh, man. Right there, you see it? You see it? The flame is actually red, orange, whatever, and its ears are 2 shades of orange instead of 2 completely gibberish random colours, which I've already forgotten. But yeah, now we've not only ported Batbot, we've fixed a bug in it, so it actually looks proper. Looks proper well good, mate. And cool. Now Hidden Power Zone's actually looking quite complete. No Crocobot, no Rhinobot, but we've got Batbot being a cheap little bugger as ever, with Dinobot being ineffective as ever, and we have our special guest, the Great Crash. I really want to know why this crash is happening. You know what? As I'm just thinking about it, I think I know what's causing that crash. You see, when I disassembled Knuckles in Sonic 2, I had to figure out what its differences were from regular Sonic 2. It didn't just add Knuckles, of all things. No, if I remember right, it has this stupid little bug, and that's what's causing the crash. It adds a bug somewhere. So here I am, just filtering through the code, trying to find that one bug. It's got to be around here somewhere. Okay, after searching for what felt like 20 blooming minutes, I found it. Yeah, for some reason in Knuckles and Sonic 2, this line of code was just removed. And that's a problem because it causes the mappings here to be ran as code, which is, as you can imagine, really bad. And this bug only affects the Hidden Power Stone Emerald. Yes, for some reason the developers edited the Hidden Power Stone Emerald. I wish I could tell you why. Anyway, so to fix this, we just, well, put the put the code back, you know? Anyhow, so that should hopefully put an end to that bizarre crash. So if you were following along at home, you're fine. Regular Sonic 2 doesn't have that issue, it's just a Knuckles and Sonic 2 thing. Okay, moment of truth, come past the Emerald, and yeah, no crash. So we fixed it, we fixed the crash, woohoo. Though I have noticed another bug. You destroy a Badnik, you leave, come back, and the Badnik's back. Maybe that was intentional part of the developers, maybe it wasn't. The issue there has to do with the respawn table. I believe in the object placement file, objects are explicitly marked as respawnable and not respawnable. And the simple issue there is they're not marked as, or they are marked as respawnable. So they just don't stay destroyed. If you want to fix that, okay. Fix SonLVL and you can do it. I don't know. But you know, that does have me wondering, what is there left to do? Yeah, it would be nice to get SonLVL working, and I do have a plan for that. But additionally, maybe that monitor, like you remember that monitor, there's a weird monitor at the start of the level that has tails on it for some reason. That's kind of a bug. Basically, that monitor, it made sense when the game was more like Sonic 1, but as the game was developed, it changed how the monitors worked, and they didn't update the Hidden Palace monitor, which is why now it shows tails. I believe it's meant to hold a shield. Again, you can just fix that with SonLVL. But before we can do SonLVL, we have to get the level layout working. Now, how do we do that? Because we can't just convert it ourselves. That's a lot of effort. I don't think you guys want to watch me program C for half an hour just to write a file converter and have you install MinGW and good grief, no. Rather, I have a better way. So the game loaded this level layout, right? So why do we have to write a converter? The game has already converted it for us. You see, Sonic 2's level layout format is nothing more than just a snapshot of the RAM. So we have the RAM right here in this emulator. If we can just get the emulator to dump its RAM, and we can just copy out the part that's the level layout, compress it as KENSC, and put it in the ROM, we have a Sonic 2 format level layout for Hidden Power Stone. This is my emulator, but it doesn't really have memory dumping capabilities. I think for that I'm going to have to use Regen. I know save states are technically that, but I just don't want to go there. So here is Regen. It's a very old debugging emulator. Okay, so here we are in the level, and we're going to go to Tools, RAM Viewer / Editor, and it pulls up this thing right here. And yeah, it's RAM. Now we just want to dump some of the Mega Drive's RAM to a file. Which RAM? Well, the numbers on the left. They're the last 4 digits. We want FFFF. Then these 4 numbers. So we need the contents of level layout in RAM. But what is level layout? So let's go into the listing file, look up the level layout buffer, level layout buffer. Here we go, 8,000, and it is 1,000 bytes long. So we want to come here and go from 8,000 to hello. Oh, why can't I backspace? There, I have to press the delete key to 9,000. And dump. We'll just call it layout.unc. Okay, now, is it the right size? Because I don't know if it's inclusive, exclusive, or what. 4 kilobytes. Let's drag it into a hex editor. How big is it really? Okay, well, okay. So I should have done 8,000 to 8FFF. That will get us the proper number of bytes. So dump layout.unc. Let's just double check it. This is, yeah, this is correct. So here we go. Here is our layout file. We just need to compress it. Get that out of here. Compress it as KENSC. Give it a proper name in PowerZone1.bin, and then move it into level layout. And now we can discard these two old files. We can also throw away that clunky ported code. We can get rid of this little branch here. And we can correct the include. Yeah, it's a pretty simple way to convert the mappings over, which is only really possible because Sonic 2 doesn't really bother having a proper format for the level layout. It's just a snapshot of the RAM. Makes things simpler for us, so I guess I shouldn't be complaining. Does it whack? Does it whack? Does it whack? Yeah! So, there we go. We've converted the level layout. You know what that means. Sorry, editing hiccup. That means we can edit SonLVL and get it working properly. So, I think that's all that's necessary. S2 Disassembly, change level, hidden power zone, and there you go. Yeah, none of the objects are loaded. Someone's going to have to make SonLVL definitions for them. But yeah, you can now edit hidden power zone in SonLVL. So if you want to make your own fancy hidden power zone recreation completion theory thing, you can. So you have object 12, which is the emerald, a reds, a dinobot, a batbot. There's that mysterious elevator shaft that wraps around the level. The water slide that doesn't actually do anything, not even the prototypes, and this small little bit of level geometry that doesn't really do anything or lead anywhere. And there you go. So is that everything? You know, you can play it. There are badniks. You can edit it in SonLVL. It's just very, very, very bare bones. Maybe sometime in the future I'll add proper SonLVL object definitions. For now, you're going to be stuck with these question marks. Sorry about that. But yeah, Hidden Palace. Woo! Is there anything left to do? Okay, I can think of one thing. You remember at the very start? At least I think it was on this take. I was looking for HPZ, starting at the top. I came across the debug list. Now, it's here. You can restore it, but it's not complete. So in the prototype disassembly, you have inc debug index. And that is what we're going to want to see. And then down here we have hidden power zone. Here you go. And there are a lot of things in here, including Rhinobot, interestingly enough. So it's a whole lot more than just a ring and a monitor like it is in here. You have the orbs, the waterfalls, collapsing platforms, a layer switcher, apparently, Dinobot, Batbot, Rhinobot. So if we want to be really complete, we're going to want to port the Rhinobot, but I do wonder about the Crocobot too, after all. Oh, never mind, Crocobot isn't loaded here, but it is down here. I'll never understand what this big blob of randomness is supposed to be. Like, there's a hidden power zone piranha? We haven't ported anything like that. But, you know, if you want to port the piranha, assuming there is code for it in this prototype, you know the process, you know the drill. But I suppose if we really want to be complete, we've got to port Rhinobot and then complete the debug list. Oh boy. Okay, let's walk you through converting or porting one item from the debug list, the hidden power zone orb. I suppose you could just dump it here unceremoniously, but I wouldn't say that's such a good idea. The main reason I say that is because this is a hard-coded object ID and there are object constants that you really are supposed to be using. So I suppose for things like Dinobot, we don't have the whole infrastructure for that. There is no object ID for Dinobot, and adding it would be a bit of a pain in the ass, so maybe we won't be doing that. So here is object 721, the object we're trying to add to the debug list. We need its mappings. Just its regular mappings, apparently. I believe that's this one right here. So I want to replace that with this. These values are fine. This, we could spend a while turning it into this, but it's just a load of busy work for not much gain. So let's just transpose this data onto here. So I can't be asked to, or maybe I can, sod it. Yeah, object ID pulsing orb. These are the mappings. (11.3) and this random hard-coded art tile. And that should be it. That's the pulsing orb thing ported. Now we just have to do the same thing with all of these flipping things, finding the object, finding the corresponding mappings, and mushing them into shape with the others. Object 13 keeps its mappings right here in the standard location. Object 1A is a bit harder to follow. The mappings are right here. Here we have the layer switcher. We normally call it the plane switcher. That thing's mappings are here, and its object ID is, yep, object ID plane switcher. Well, Dinobot, I'm pretty sure we'd have to faff around. Yeah, it's just called Dinobot mappings because we did port it. As for its object ID, it doesn't have one. Adding one's a bit of a pain in the ass. Feel free to figure out in your own time. So we're just going to leave that as 4F mappings 0, 0, and 500. Alright, only Batbot to go. And we can do Rhinobot when we actually port the flipping thing. Oh, I should mention, remember, Batbot should be using palette line 0, not 1. So the 2, which is 1 bit shifted by 1, becomes 0. There, fixed a bug again in Batbot. Okay, and that just leaves Rhinobot, which we'll do in a minute. So now we're going to test the debug mode and see that all the objects are there. Oh, okay, there's something I missed. You see, Knuckles in Sonic 2 completely just kind of nukes the debug lists. So, for us Knuckles and Sonic 2 hackers, real exclusive club, yeah, we're just going to put them back. So that involves putting the old table back, then removing this little guard that gets rid of all the debug lists. And there we go. Okay, ring, monitor, pulsing orb, waterfall, collapsing platform, plane swapper, reds, the little T-Rex fella, B-bat, batbot, and yeah, there we go. Cool, so we've completed the debug list without Rhinobot, and now we'll do Rhinobot. Okay, Rhinobot is 4D. Hopefully this one won't be so hard to port. It's just more of the same. At least I hope it will be. You never know. Okay, paste it between 4C and 4F. I'm gonna have to do the mappings. I'm gonna have to link it into the table. Typical error, like I say, it's now just main character plus expos. New errors, the usual stuff. Jump twos need to be eliminated. A few functions that just have the wrong name. Alright, no more errors. So now we just bring this back, add it to the table. And of course, we're going to add it to the debug list. Hard-coded object ID of 4D, Rhinobot mappings 00. I hope it's using the correct palette line. Oh, and also I should do the mappings. I should still have my handy-dandy regular expression that makes converting it easy peasy. Where is it? There it is. 3, 2, 1, boop. And it doesn't work. Oh man. 3, 2, 1, boop. Come on. Oh, I see the problem. It's .l. 3, 2, 1, boop. There we go. Converted mappings. Now we just need to actually get the art loaded by the PLCs. So, Batbot, Dinobot. Rhinobot, Dinobot, Batbot, Bubbles, Rhinobot. And then we just need to get the file copied over, which is above Dinobot. And we'll copy it straight over from the disassembly. Alright, and is that everything? Alright, successful build. Okay, update, I'm an idiot. I forgot to convert the flipping dc.ls to dc.ws. Okay, so here's Dinobot, but its colours are wrong. I'm wondering if I've done something incorrect, or maybe this is another bugged object that's using the wrong palette line. Let's take a second. Let's check my... Oh, okay, that guy just went off a cliff. Okay. Let's check out CRAM. Okay, yeah, it looks like another case where the band is supposed to be using palette line 0, but it's using palette line 1. So instead of red, it's yellow, because as you can see, instead of red, there is yellow. So let's correct that. So come here, nope, sorry, come to here. Okay, change the 2 to a 0, and go to Rhinobot's code. Rhino? Why the f... Isn't like a Stegosaurus or something? I'm no dino nerd, but come on. Blooming disassembly. Okay. Okay. There we go. Stegobot, or whatever the hell its name is, in its real full glory. With a proper palette and everything. So with that, we have a full debug list. You have the background working as intended. We have all 3 badniks working as intended. All the graphics. Man, I mean, is there anything left to do besides actually finish the level? Well, I'll leave it up to you guys. I'm no level editor. I just program. Okay, before I wrap things up, I figure I should show you what I mean by making the enemies not respawn. Over here is a Dinobot, and as you can see, there's over here, remember state. It's false. Now if I go to any other level, like Emerald Hill, and I look at a buzzer or a coconuts, remember state is true. But if I go to Hidden Palace Zone, it's false. That's the problem. You need to go over every enemy and set their remember state attribute to true if you don't want them to respawn after you've destroyed them. This isn't the hardest thing in the world to do. There is a find option. If you type in the numerical ID, which is 4F, you just find and then press F3 to keep going and keep going and keep going. It takes you over every single one. Then do it for every Batbot and so on. Just remember, when you're putting down a badnik, make it remember its state. And that also leaves the busted monitor. So is there only one monitor in this entire level? 26, right? Yeah, that's its ID, 26. So if we look up 26, oh, there's a shield at the start, and that's it. So, what were these monitors meant to be? Because it was obviously not meant to be tails. To answer that, you want to look at the subtype. You see, tails is shield subtype 2, and the shield is, did I say shield subtype? Monitor subtype 2, and the shield is monitor subtype 6. Now, what are these in Sonic 1? Well, in Sonic 1, monitor subtype 6 is a ring, and monitor subtype 2 is a 1-up? Okay. So, to fix the busted monitors, we want to make number 6 over here rings, and we want to make the tails monitor, apparently, a Sonic monitor, which of course will turn into Knuckles. So now we can save. I'm sure SonLVL won't destroy the level. We just put so much time and effort into porting. And there we go, the correct monitor. I assume. Yeah, so I think that's it. All objects, all graphical assets. Sure, we didn't put the Gator bot, but apparently that wasn't intended for this level anywhere. Considering it's not in the debug list, it's not in the level. Nothing. Alright, well, for one final fun touch, let's change the level icon in the level select to represent the new level. So, yeah, at the start of the table, Emerald Hill Zone 1, change the 0 for Emerald Hill Zone to 3 for Hidden Palace Zone, and build and run. And there we go. So, yeah, that was a level icon and everything. If you're actually interested in properly adding Hidden Palace Zone to the level select, you're going to have to find yourself a plane map editor like PlaneEd or Captain PlaneEd or Sonic Plane. I'm not making a whole tutorial on using one of those right now, so you'll have to settle for this icon and Emerald Hill leads to Hidden Palace Zone. So, pretty sure that's everything. Badniks, level data, collision, debug list, everything. So, now that you know how to restore Hidden Palace Zone in Sonic 2, you can use this know-how to make your own fanciful recreations of how Hidden Palace Zone would have been had Sonic Team not been bum rushed. Yeah, Hidden Palace Zone in Sonic 2, done.